Now, I think that we could all agree here that Bob Iger has been wreaking havoc over at Disney for the past number of years, especially in 2023, with all of the box office flops and all of the box office disasters that really came as a result of a lack of leadership, as well as his cost containment plan, really wreaking havoc on many things, all related to Disney, Star Wars, Marvel, and just Disney in general. And it's not looking good for this year. It's also not looking good for 2025. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So, we already know that there's some level of a shakeup happening between many of the board of directors over at Disney due to Bob Iger's lack of leadership skills and all the risks that he's taking with his cost containment plan, which, by the way, is now officially entering into its third phase, which is going to actually involve a lot of firings across the board, a lot of layoffs, so to speak, for all divisions over at Disney. One of the big ones, by the way, being Pixar, which is also going to head into a lot of trouble. We have a lot more to talk about that. But when it comes down to director Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, who, by the way, is leading this new REY movie that she has been very open about that has the potential to becoming a full-fledged trilogy, well, there's a lot of drama happening behind the scenes when it comes to this movie and what Disney recently did to the director herself. Let's get into it. Now, one thing about Bob Iger is that we all know that he's very inconsistent when it comes to any projects that he actually greenlit before in the past, and especially what has been going on over at Lucasfilm when it comes to announced Star Wars movies. Now, specifically, with director Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy actively defending and heading into damage control for the upcoming REY Star Wars film, one major development has to do with new drama that is beginning to surface with Sharmeen for the 2026 Star Wars project. Now, as it turns out, some major financial differences have been happening between both Sharmeen and the Disney heads that come as a result of both Bob Iger's cost containment strategy and recent issues with the director. As of late, in a recent meeting that was held between Lucasfilm creatives and the Disney heads, those like Bob Iger pressured a massive change for director Sharmeen Chinoy that they will be cutting back her previously agreed payout for the upcoming 2026 Star Wars movie as well. The reduction in her payout/income for the film is actually reported to be significant to the point where it is already creating conflicts between both Sharmeen and the heads over at Disney. To make matters even worse, for Lucasfilm's sake, is that Bob Iger recently agreed with the board that they will be cutting back on their budget and will be embracing a cost-cutting strategy as well for the production of the film, which is already creating roadblocks for plans that both Sharmeen and Kathleen Kennedy had for the film that is going to prevent them from creating specific set builds by the set designers, as well as certain location sites getting cancelled for the upcoming REY movie. In turn, this is causing Sharmeen Chinoy to become frustrated with the production of the film already, as this all happened suddenly within the past week or so. Coincidentally, after all the drama from the fan backlash recently hit its peak. Now, Kathleen Kennedy is already being forced by Disney and, in turn, forcing Sharmeen to cancel specific plans for the script of the film, since some scenes will now be all impossible to shoot. This is said to be leading to a time where Stephen Knight is being forced to rewrite some portions of the second act of the script that will take an additional 4 weeks, which will delay filming even further. Filming now is getting delayed from May until sometime in the summer, and even that is now looking bleak for Disney after all their current setbacks. Now, guys, let me just pause here quick about all of this. Now, this could very well relate to why the script is still not done yet, and why there's been this limbo with the REY movie, and why you have not been getting a lot of updates about this when it comes to an official filming date, or anything related to Daisy Ridley preparing for rehearsals, or training for the movie, or anything like that. It's not looking good at all, and I think that this movie, and I ran a poll on this, by the way, on Twitter/X, that whether or not people believe that this movie will ever be made. And there's a lot of people that really do believe and stand by their opinion that this movie will never see the light of day, much like the 10 plus other Star Wars films that have been announced by Disney and then either later canceled or remained in limbo mode. I mean, we all saw what happened to the Rian Johnson trilogy or the David Benioff and D.B. Weiss trilogy, and let's not forget about the, train of Star Wars solo films that never actually saw the light of day after they were greenlit by Bob Iger / Bob Chapek. So again, I mean, this is the latest example of Disney having no vision in sight, and how this is literally putting so much pressure now on director Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. And you know what, I'm not defending her by any means, but this just goes to show you that they all eventually turn on each other when it comes to Disney, especially when it comes down to Lucasfilm projects. They can never seem to get anything right when it comes to production, when it comes to the story, when it comes to anything related to it in that sense. It's just not looking good in general when it comes to this upcoming Rey-focused New Jedi Order film. Now, to top things all off, with Sharmeen and her pay getting downgraded in the wake of Iger's cost containment plan that just entered its third phase. Also, many Lucasfilm employees are starting to get fired / laid off, in the wake of which will result in a smaller production for the Rey film, which will only make things even more difficult for Sharmeen. This is yet another example of the early stages of Disney announcing a Star Wars film, only for it to head into production limbo for who knows how long. Now, Kathleen Kennedy is reportedly angered over this move by Disney as well as Sharmeen, as now the Rey film will only be a less expensive production, which in turn is going to limit their scenes to becoming a reality. But also, Sharmeen lost about a quarter of the amount of what she was promised to get paid for the film as a director, just before plans were made final. Now again, we know that the third phase of Bob Iger's cost containment plan includes a lot of firings of all divisions over at Disney, starting off with Pixar, which, by the way, is going to result in hundreds of firings / layoffs, and that's not a good sign at all for Disney. To top things all off, we know that the third phase of his cost containment plan is also going to include a Disney Plus purge, and what do I mean by that? It means that you're going to see a lot of movies and TV shows that have low engagement levels getting removed from the streaming platform and rates getting increased. So you're going to have a higher monthly fee when it comes to Disney Plus, but at the same exact time, they're removing content. So this is really just beginning to show you what 2024 is going to look like, and this is kind of like the prelude to what 2025 is going to pretty much envision Disney for, right? So at the end of the day, Bob Iger is literally wreaking havoc at Disney. He doesn't know what he's doing when it comes to how things should be done. And this is exactly why I say it's more around the lines that everything is deliberate at this point. It's 100%, intentional. It seemingly is coming off like Bob Iger wants to destroy Disney. I mean, how can you be so incompetent to this degree is beyond me. It boggles my mind. It truly does. So I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.